the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done.
All right, welcome back. Happy Monday. How's everyone doing? Welcome back to the live stream. Good morning. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Good morning. Good morning. Press that like button. Early likes. Let's get those early likes. All right. Thank you, Margin. Appreciate that. Good morning, my friend. CJ, Jacob, Bruce, Larry, Golf Nut. Chef, good morning, Chef. Noah, Gibson, Dino, Ponzi. Good morning to Shumby. Nice win. Giants almost won. Yeah, they almost did it, but what's my bias for the market this week? Impossible to be giving you a bias at Monday at 8 o'clock when FOMC is on Wednesday. That's one of the craziest things to be doing at this moment. Morning, everyone. Feeling better, Lito. Thank you for asking, my friend. Yeah, feeling better. Just had a little bit of congestion, that's all. Nothing crazy. Little allergy action. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. Alrighty. Yep. So over the December contracts on the futures today, guys. TUS has made the shift. So just to give you a heads up, we will be talking about the December contracts today. Right here. December 2024. New futures contracts. So make sure you're aware of that. All the structure points are the same. All the, key level holds, like this right here, this hold on Friday, same exact type of structure hold as that previous high, right, in terms of where it is, just a different number, right? So if you go here, you can always refer back to that last futures contract. You can go /NQ and then go to U4. That's September's, right? U4 is the September's. You can see right here in the September's, right? Remember we talked about that 19.4 hold, and that was right here, that 19.4 hold on the September contracts. Right there, right? Same exact hold, same exact, structure point, just a little bit of a different number. Today it's 19,630. And we will obviously walk through all of this today and get you prepared with the levels on the December contracts. All right. All right, wait a few more minutes for some more people to jump in. Appreciate you guys being here on this Monday morning. Really not much partying, to be honest. Pretty chill weekend in Austin with some friends. Nothing crazy. Went golfing, went down the river, did a little river float. Good time, relaxing. Morning, everyone. What's up, hamster? What's up, tech expert? Nice, J House. Yeah, I think we went to. I forgot what the I forgot what the golf course was even called. But yeah, definitely a hot weekend, man. Definitely a hot weekend. The golf. Well, we played a scramble. We did a 3-man scramble. We played well. We shot 3 over. So personally, I don't know what I would have shot, but as a scramble team, we shot 3 over. So it's pretty good. Not bad. All right. Let's get started. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Let's jump into it. 8:05. Happy Monday. Here we go. All right. So first things first. Economic calendar. You guys know it's a big week for that economic calendar. It's that FOMC week. So let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. That's going to be a big one. So this is going to be probably the first, I think everyone's expecting this to be the first rate cut of the recent trend, right? Recent time. So that's the expectations for now, right? I think it's about 0.25, 25 basis point cut. We will see, what it ends up doing, what they end up doing, but that's the expectation. Really, guys, you trade it like you always would, man. You got to stop. We got to, these types of weeks, we got to make sure we take a deep breath, play the levels, play the technical spots that we've been watching all week, play the action. Nothing changes. We probably expect a little bit of sideways action over the next few days, right? In anticipation of this event, right? This is never, right? This is not the event that when you look back and you say, you look at all the money that you've made on trading in general or whatever. Let's say you're a successful trader and you have been successful. You're probably not looking back and saying, wow, I made all my money guessing on FOMC, right? That's I would hope not, right? If it is, then there's a problem. So FOMC, we'll see what happens. We'll see what comes in. We protect our portfolios into that 2 o'clock event. We make sure that we are neutral, right? Not too much risk on either side. And we play the trades afterwards, right? We play a little bit before, we play a little bit after, and we protect ourselves into that Wednesday 2 o'clock event. So that's going to be interesting. That'll be fun to watch, right? Fun to watch, right? Keyword watch. I'll probably have some kind of risk through it. I'm definitely not going to sell my NVIDIA calls that I've been holding. That's probably the only thing that I'm really confident in holding at this point, right? SPX calls that I've had, those are going to expire today, so those are going to be fully out of the portfolio today. And then really just holding those NVIDIA Septembers that I have been holding for about a month now. So keep it pretty light, right, through that event. That's going to be the main event of the week, 2 o'clock. What do we expect the 2 days prior? Probably not much. And another reason I'll talk about why I expect not much is on the technicals, and I'll break that down in just a second. But today, really nothing. Empire State Manufacturing Index. Let's see if there's any movement there at 8:30 today. Tomorrow, pretty interesting event there tomorrow, right? This definitely has some ability to move the market, so definitely be aware of that tomorrow morning. That is at 8:30. That's retail sales, right? Retail sales tomorrow morning. That definitely has ability to move the market, so just be aware of that tomorrow morning, 8:30. And then really it's that 2 o'clock event, right? 2 o'clock, 2:30 on Wednesday. And then our unemployment claims on Thursday. So TLT holding over. Yeah, I've been holding those TLT shares still, so that's great. So yeah, that's that. Anything on the earnings side? Let's take a quick look. I don't know if we have any earnings this week. Let me get a quick peek. I didn't even look at that earnings calendar yet. No, really nothing. Just FedEx on Thursday. So earnings pretty much over. But FedEx on Thursday, and that's really it. All right. So let's jump into the levels. Let's get started. So the first thing that I really want to point out, guys, before we get started, and I will point it out again when we get into the ES, because we're going to talk about the NASDAQ first, but I just want to point this out really quickly because it will sort of get you, your mind going on what I'm thinking here. Take a look at this, guys, right? You should remember this. This was the channel that I had my worst trading in back in August, right? This was that channel between which, if we go back to the ES, the U24, the September contracts, you should remember these levels. This was our 56.65, right, to 56. It was like 5,600, right? Right in that general area. You can call it 55.75, 5,600. If you guys remember this, at least you should, right? This was that channel that we were trading in back in the middle of August, right? So we are right back within it, okay? We are right back within that channel. And this is what the market was doing within that channel. And look at where we're trading. We are right back within it. And we are right back within it right before FOMC on Wednesday, right? So what would I expect this week, both today and tomorrow? I would expect the markets to stay within this channel, right? Possibly some volatility within it. Maybe we get a little pop and fade. Maybe we get a little drop and pop, right? I would say there's probably some volatility between the levels, between the channel low and channel high, right? But overall, I would not expect the markets to break out and make a solid move and a confident move outside of this channel prior to FOMC, right? I would expect us to stay within that area, right? I would expect us to stay within that area. So right here, 56.40, 56.50. Right here, 57.25. That is the two zones that I would have on your charts. Those are the major zones. 57.25. You can very clearly see that high that was created, right? And we can very clearly see those lows that were created here at the 56.40, 56.50, right? Very nice. And we can also see right here the daily 20 SMA. Right there, the daily 20 SMA, right at that 56.40, 56.50 zone. So we definitely can see those demand lows here. That's also that daily 20 SMA lining up. That's very nice, very clean. So if we do get pullbacks into that level, right, back into this level at the 56.40, 56.50, that could be a nice little long opportunity this week, right? I would keep an eye on that right down there. If we see the markets sort of push higher today, right, push higher, maybe a little bit higher towards this upside supply, 57.25, I would be careful of that rejection play, right? Be careful of the potential of these highs just getting sort of failed again and sellers coming back in there, right? So this is sort of that zone that I would just sort of watch today and see if there's an opportunity to either side, right? Either down here or up here. If we are not at 56.40, 56.50, right, or we are not up here at 57.25, it's not my favorite trade to be involved in, right? I think this is a fantastic time on a Monday morning into FOMC on Wednesday, right here, FOMC on Wednesday. I think this is a fantastic time to really only trade the big opportunities in the channel that we're trading in, right? Only look for trades down here and only look for trades up here, right? If you want to be protective into FOMC, if you want to be able to just stay patient and not get too involved in the short-term action within this channel, right? Because if you look back to the left, it was not that easy to trade at the center of this channel, right? Right in the center of this area, it was pretty difficult to catch a good trade. But if we look to the left, we can see, look how easy the fades were, right? And look how nice the demand holds were. Nice longs here, right? And beautiful shorts up here. Very nice. So why not, be a little bit particular this week and say, hey, I'm going to try to hold off the best I can until we get a move into one of these channels, right? One of the guardrails of the channel. And if I start to see rejections up here, I know I have good risk reward. And if I start to see downside into this demand, I know I have good risk reward, right? And so I think that's a fantastic way to sort of, at least have your mind set this week and try to avoid some of that middle of the zone chop that we possibly will see, before FOMC, right? So I think a great way to look at this. I hope you sort of understand where I'm coming from there. If I zoom out, you can see the importance of these levels. It's not just in the short term, right? So 5640, 5650 is right here, but it is also right here, right? And it is also right here, and it is also right here, and it is also right here, right? So that's not just a short-term August level, 5640, 5650. That's not just the low from August. That is a previous high here. That is some previous action in this zone back in July. This is some action back in July as well. This is some action back in June, right? So that's a level that's been apparent for about 3 months now. You can see that 5640, 5650 is very clear. Now, to the upside, we can see we had those previous rejections here back in July, and we can see those major rejections up here in August, which caused that short-term downside on the market, right? So very clear, very clean. Just got to play it, right? Play it correctly. Have that larger picture. And I think you stay sort of along that larger picture this week. Make sure you watch those bigger 4-hour levels and try to set up your trades off 4-hour levels rather than, dancing and getting chopped up trading every 5-minute level that sort of shows up here on the intraday. Okay? That's my personal recommendation. All right, so let's jump. We'll just use that as our SPY analysis. Let's use that as our ES analysis. Let's now go to the SPY, and then we'll switch over to that NASDAQ and that QQQ. All right, so 4-hour chart here on the SPY. I'm going to delete this level for a second because it's sort of that middle of the road level, but I'm going to show you the big levels, and that is right here, right? Here's your SPY. Here's your major high, which is 464, right? And here's your major low, which is a little bit of a zone between 453.30 and 553.30 and 555. So 564 is your very clear high. 564 is your very clear high, which you are rejecting this morning. And your very clear low is right here within this zone between 555 and 554, really. And so if I go and zoom into this on the 1-hour chart and get a little bit more time, you can see right here, we have our extremely clear highs that caused rejections all in August, right? And we are right back at it today. So I'd be very careful of that level today. Would be not surprised in the slightest to see this market sort of pull back off this level. This is why I've been slowly scaling out of my SPX calls, right? Because I know that we are pushing into supply. This time around, I'm doing the right thing, right? Back here in August, I was sort of getting chopped up. This time around, I knew I needed to reduce my long risk into this level, right? So this is a very clear supply high at 564. There's no doubt about that. So please be careful up here today, okay? To the downside, we can see that 555, 554 zone. It looks to be actually 553.30. And the reason I say 553.30 is because of this right here. You can see this low right here. This came back in Wednesday of August 28th. These were these sort of previous highs right here. And then that was that low that held on Thursday of last week right there. So I would say anywhere between that 555 and that Thursday low right here and this low right here, this is all a zone that I believe the SPY could sort of hold up in, right, if we see downside towards this zone. So if we do see downside towards this zone, right, then we could start to see, sort of that hold step up around that 555, 554 zone, okay? That's also going to be where that daily 20 SMA is, right? That daily 20 SMA will also be down here towards that 555. So if we do get that pullback towards that daily 20, you probably start to see some hold in that zone, something to be aware of, right? 558, yeah, it's a minor level, I'd say. It definitely was a level that that reacted on Friday, or on Thursday, right? We saw it react, so you can see right here that 558. If I go to the short term, we can see right here 558. Right here, we can see very nice hold on that Thursday. See that 558, and then if we zoom out, you can see the 558 did have nice reactions in the past, sort of within the channel, right? It's sort of an intra-channel level, inner channel level. You can see right here, 558, 558, 558, 558, 558, right? So there's definitely some reactions at 558. That's why I had it on my charts to start. But I want to make sure you understand that that's not that is sort of middle of the channel level, right? That's not really a major low. So you can definitely see, look at this, right? There's no doubt that there has been many reactions off this level. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 exact attempts at 558 and held. Now, the extreme low where you get those really aggressive longs, right, is 555. So see how aggressive that long was? See how aggressive that long was? That was sort of that extension down into 554, 555, right? So you still get those reactions off 558, but this is sort of that major channel low. That's what I wanted to make sure you understood. So if you get a pullback into 555, right, you might see that hold today. You definitely could. So I keep it on your charts. Make sure you're aware of that. But I'd make sure you know that that's not like a 4-hour level that I'm that interested in. It's really this major low here, and then it's this major high here, right? That's sort of that intermediary level, middle of the seesaw level. You can definitely watch it for scalping, but it's definitely not, daily chart type, strength at that level there. Okay? So 564, I'd be very careful longing into this level today. There's definitely clear supply above. There's no doubt about that. We can see that's the exact level that caused the downside in the first place, right? We're right back at it. So please be careful up there. I would, again, I'd be very interested in pullback longs, right? 555, and then these lows at 554, 555. That's sort of my idea today. ES, I'd be looking for sort of that pullback into that 5650, 5640. If we get this pullback today, this could be a very interesting trade to be looking out for, okay? All right, let's go to the NASDAQ futures. So NASDAQ futures, we'll go to the hourly chart, and I believe the NASDAQ futures needs to hold right here around this 19,630. This looks to be the key level that I'd be paying attention to today. Now, let me show you why. So 19,630 is right here, right? We can see this, 19,630, right? We can bring this all the way back to here. I'm going to drag this even further. 19,630, you can see right there. So that's one there. That's another 19,630 here. Two very clear reactions there, right? And if we go to this 4-hour chart, 19,630, 19,630, right? And so if we go to the short term, we go to that hourly chart. Let's take a look at this. 19,630, we saw it try to hold here, right? When we flushed it, we saw that downside move. And today, and last week, right, you can see how we tried to hold above it. 19,630 on the NASDAQ futures. So if I'm going to go into the 15-minute chart here, and we can see over the last few trading days, and definitely on Friday, which was so clean, we talked about that on Thursday, that 19.4 level, that was on the NASDAQ futures. That was the old contract, the September contracts, right? The 19.4 level that we had on our charts. That is now 19,630, and I believe that that's a must-hold level, right? You can see right here, 19,630, 19,630. That would be the level I'd look to see if it can hold today. If we can hold at 19,630, then I would potentially look for that long opportunity today, right here. If we can pull back and start to see a hold of that 50 SMA, right, start to see a hold of that 19,630, then that's something that I would be watching, right there. So keep an eye on that today, 19,630. If we break under that level today, I would expect possibly a little bit more slippage. I'd expect a little bit more weakness. Under 19,630, you probably need to watch this daily 20 and this 100 SMA, right? That's sort of what's concerning me for this short. I'm a little concerned of shorting under 630 today, and the reason for that is I'm not sure yet what's going to happen at this 20, and I'm not sure yet what's going to happen at this 100, right? So 19,630 right here, 19,630 right here, and that level right there, right? 50 SMA, 20 SMA, 100 SMA. So I need to give this some time today, right? I definitely need to see this out a little bit because I'm not going to be the first one to run for this short at 630 personally, because I'm a little concerned of something like this happening, right? 630 rejects, and then you see a 20 SMA bounce, right? Or the 20 SMA breaks, and then the 100 SMA bounces. So I'm a little bit concerned about those SMAs below to short into, right? I'm not too much of a fan of shorting into those levels. So be aware of that. Where I really think the short comes in is under 19.4, right? Right here. 19.4, which is right here. That's really where I think your short starts to really set up. So under this 19.4, you can see right here. Under that, you look for that downside into 19.140. Guys, everyone that's panicking in the chat, the contracts have adjusted, okay? It is now December contracts. This /NQ on TOS is a continuous contract. So the /NQ on TOS will adjust for the contract change. It will continuously change the contract towards the next new contract. We are now on December 2024 futures contracts, meaning levels have changed. Structure remains the same. Everything remains the same. The number on the right has changed. Okay, I've talked about this already. The S&P 500, you can see right here, we are on December contracts. That means that we have new levels to be paying attention to. In terms of the structure, it's the exact same thing. If I go to the NASDAQ and I go to the September contracts, which are right here, September 2024, if I go to those, right, 19.4, you can see it's the same structure point. That's the same exact idea in terms of where we're trading, right? This is Friday's lows at 19.4, okay? And so if we go to the new contract and we look at Friday's lows, right? The concept is the exact same, right? Friday's lows. The only difference here is we have a different number now because the contracts have rolled to the December contracts. So 19,630, that is the new level. And then under that, you have your 19.4. If you don't want to deal with this today and this is just sort of way too much information for you, watch the SPY and watch the Qs. Those never change. That's not something that changes. Okay? So back on the NASDAQ futures, the December contracts, if we break under that 19,630, right here, if we break under that 19,630, I think you probably will trade back to that 19.4, right? I think you will probably trade back to that 19.4. Now, the reason I'm a little bit cautious, and I'll reiterate this again, the reason I am slightly cautious of shorting this zone right here, right, is because of the 100 and the 20 SMA. So I hope you sort of understand where I'm coming from there. While I think you could see maybe a short under 630 today, right, I think that's possible, maybe back into that 19.4. The reason I'm cautious on that short is because I don't know if I want to short into the 20 and I want to short into the daily 100 SMA. That is something I am cautious of, and I probably will not play that short. If I see sort of choppy action near these SMAs, it could definitely cause some fake outs that I'm just not that interested in getting involved in. So be careful in there. Where I really think the short comes in, and I see free air, right? You see this right here? This is free air. This is a trade that I'd love to take. So if we see a move under 19.4, and we see a rejection below it, that would be sort of that free air short. Look at this straight upside. That could go straight down. So I'd probably stay sort of cautious, right, until we break under 19.4 on the short side. If we do that, then I'd look for that downside move. Okay? All right. So 19,630, 19.4. Watch the SMAs, and then very clearly on the upside, you can see right here, very clearly on the upside, the supply is 19,925, 19,950. That is, without a doubt, the clear as day supply above. You can see the rejections here. You can see the rejections here. and the rejections here. I will not answer any more questions about why I'm talking about these levels. I just talked about why these levels are different today because of contract changes, and we still get the same question. So clearly no one is paying attention. So let's continue. QQQ. All right. QQQ, if we go here to the 1 hour chart, we can see it's the same exact concepts across the board, right? So 472, right? Very nice there, 472. And then you have that 468, right? And so this is the same concept we just talked about, okay? The reason why I'd be cautious on the shorts under 472, once again, is because of that 20 and 50 SMA, right? So you could look to short under 472 today. However, I'd be slightly cautious under that level because of that 20 and 50 SMA and because of that 468 demand. Now, where I think the short side gets very nice is right here, right? Right here. Under this 468 to 464, that is a short that I would like to look for, right? Under 468 to 464, I like that short right there a lot, right? So right here, under this, right? Under that 468 to 464, that's a short that I would absolutely look to target. That is a straight up move that could go straight down if we get into that zone. Now, before that, I would be a little bit more interested in pullback longs. 472 and 468, I would look for this long today, and I would look for this long today, right? These are my two long zones that I would look for today. 472, 468. I like those two spots today, okay? That 468 would also line up very nicely with these previous lows here, right? You can see that very nice spot there. So if we hold 472, I think you maintain. If you hold 468, I think you maintain. If you break 468, I think you have a short down into that 464, okay? And that 100 SMA. Now, a break under the 100 SMA, and I don't think you're going to see that today, right? That's a lot to really ask for today, but a break under the 100 SMA, that would be a total shift on the market, okay? A break back under 464 and the 100 SMA would be a total bearish shift back on the market, okay? That is very, very clear. All right, let's go to the IWM real quick. IWM, what a beautiful hold of that 209 level and that 207 level. We were talking about these levels last week. What awesome holds there. Then again, we held over the 212, right? And now we're even above the 216. So today, I'd be looking to see, is it 215 or 216? Let me take a look. Yeah, it's 216. I'd be looking to see if the IWM holds above these previous levels. Look how clear this is, right? Look at this. Previous high, major low, right? So if the IWM pulls back today, which you want it to pull back, you'd like to see if it pulls back and holds that 216. If we hold that 216, that could be a very nice long entry. Now, on the flip side, if IWM fails back under 216, that concerns me slightly for a larger pullback because of the manner in which this went higher, right? We pretty much went straight up here between 212 and 216. So a little bit cautious there. I'd want to see the IWM hold 216. Any movement on that data? Let's see. Not much. Empire, manufacturing. Looks like we didn't really move too much there. Okay. Let's go to the Dow Jones real quick. Let's see what that thing's up to. Wow. What a strong move on the Dow. Beautiful 41,000 hold. Beautiful 40,500 hold. Beautiful two levels there from last week. It looks like we're right at the highs, man. 52,100. I'm sorry, 52. What am I, crazy? 42,100. Now, that's not a contract change. That's just me saying the wrong number, okay? 42,100 on Dow Jones. That's a very clear high. That's a very clear high. So let's be watching that. Let's be careful up here, right? Look at this. Major rejection, 42,100. Careful there. All right. What do we got? 2,300 people, 700 likes. That's pretty bad. So we're going to definitely run an ad there. If you guys please would press that like button for me, I'd appreciate that. Get us to 1,000 likes. I'd appreciate that. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. We just went over all the futures contracts, the NASDAQ, the ES, the SPY, the QQQ, the IWM, the Dow Jones, Mike Jones, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones needs to be, you know what, man? I'll give Daniel Jones I'll give him another shot after his performance yesterday. A little bit better yesterday from DJ, but still the Giants can't find a way to win a game. So that's beyond the point. Yeah, let's continue. Tesla. So Tesla about to reach, or at least getting close to major levels. Major levels. 236 is the big spot, right? 236 is the big spot. That is, without a doubt, the must break. Okay? 236, 236, 236. We have seen major smackdowns on Tesla at 236, right? So we need to get above that level to feel like Tesla actually is working on something larger, okay? So I would be watching that 236 today. I'd be very careful being exposed too aggressively long into it, but I would make sure you know that if Tesla does break that 236, then we could really start to see something happen here. Tesla has been driving higher pretty nicely, right? It has been outperforming relatively to the upside, right? Sort of stair-stepping to the upside nicely. However, this is what it looked like here, and 235, 236 smackdown, right? And this is what it's looking like here, and this could still be very possible again, right? So be careful, okay? I'm not a big fan of it towards that 235, 236. I would prefer to look for it long, maybe back down into that 224, 225. I do like how Tesla defended that level on Friday. Right, you can see right here, we had those previous highs on Friday. We had those previous highs around this level at 230, 225, 226, and it defended it very nicely right there, right? Defended very nicely on Friday, which I do like, right? I do like that. However, still sort of right in that channel, right? So you could try to look for that long. If you want to try to long Tesla, I'd want to be long in this zone down here, right? I would want my average on a Tesla long to be in here, right? That would make me feel much more comfortable. If my average on Tesla longs was down here, that would make me feel more comfortable. I'm not a fan of being long Tesla, more north towards that 230, all up in here. I don't want to be taking an average on longs here. If I'm going to look for this Tesla long, I would watch to see if this pullback holds again around that 225, 226. Okay? All right. So let's watch that today. Let's watch that all week. NVIDIA. So, NVIDIA, very nice. We got our sort of push off that 116 that was back on Thursday of last week. That was a beauty. And now we're right back at that 116, right? So, 116 today, that's going to be the level to watch. Can we hold above that 116 level? Can we hold above that Thursday hold? And can we see another hold of that today? Is this pullback in the pre-market creating a very interesting long opportunity? Very possible, right? So I would absolutely be watching to see what happens at 116 today. If that 116 steps up like it did on Thursday from last week, right around here, I would look to see if there is a long that steps up off that level today. If we do not hold 116, then I would expect there to be a little bit of weakness on NVIDIA, right? Because this was pretty much a straight up move on NVIDIA, right? And I'll show you why. Because if I go to the 4-hour chart, right, we can see, look at this, straight down, straight up, right? So between 116 and 110 is pretty much a vacuum in space, right? You have seen pretty much straight up and straight down moves between that zone for quite some time. Straight up, right? Straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, right? There has really not been any chop within this zone. So that's a pretty aggressive area there on NVIDIA. So if we do break back under 116 today, you might be able to look for some short action towards that 112, maybe towards that 100 SMA around 112, or maybe that 110, right? So I would definitely watch 116 today. This could absolutely present a long opportunity if we start to see them holds come in, right? If we see a hold come in around here, look for that possible long. If we break under 116 with strength and the market's sort of breaking down, I would assume NVIDIA can trade back to that 100 SMA, right, and that 110 area. All right, make sure you're watching that today. AMD, another semiconductor. Actually, you know what? Before we go into AMD, let's go to the SMH. Let's talk about the level that the SMH is rejecting. This was that level that we needed to be very cautious of, and we can see it is starting to get a little bit weak here, right? So if we extend that to the left and we draw this supply over, we can see, look how important this 237 level has been on the SMH, right? 237, 237, very clear. 237 right there, 237, 237 again stepping up, right? So 237 on the SMH looks to be one of the most important levels to be watching for this market, right? So you can see right here, 237, very, very clear on the SMH and starting to reject this morning, okay? So let's make sure we're aware of that. That 237 on the SMH might be the level that needs to break for us to really trust more upside. I mean, it is the level that needs to trust for more upside on the semiconductors, right? So 228, I like that as a little pullback long area. You can see right here, previous highs. Pullback long could be very nice, right? That could be a nice watch. If we get a little pullback on the SMH, I would look for that. That would be a nice little Fibonacci retracement, maybe from these Wednesday's lows, right? Maybe back around that 50% retracement. I like that idea. I would definitely be watching it. So if you get a pullback, which you are right now, look for that 228 area. I like that area on the SMH for maybe a little pullback long, something to be watching there this week. But we can very clearly see, right, that SMH is causing some downside off, or the SMH is having some downside off that 237. And if we stay under that 237, you might see a sort of slowdown on semiconductors here. So please be aware of that. That's definitely something I'm watching and something that would probably get me out of majority of, short-term risk on semiconductors to the upside, knowing that the SMH is rejecting 237. AMD, right? You can see right here. I want to see if AMD can hold this 150 level today. It's the 50 SMA. It's a very interesting spot. I'm watching to see if AMD can maintain this zone right here between 150 and 151. If AMD can maintain here, I think you can see another push to the upside. I would also be very interested in pullbacks to 147 on AMD for longs as well. So 147 and this zone right here, 150 to 151, that is also the 50 SMA. That is a spot that I would be watching for longs today. If AMD and the semis can hold up and maybe NVIDIA bounces off that 116, then I would say AMD can probably hold this 150 to 151 zone and seeing a push up towards that 155 and that 100 SMA, right? So that's something I'd be watching today. That 150 you can see right here. If I zoom out on AMD, you can see this is a previous zone right here, right? And I'm looking to see if this can maintain today. If you can maintain here, I think you're going to push up into these highs right here around 155. If you don't and you fail it, then you're going to trade back to that 147. Okay? All right. Let's go to Broadcom. Broadcom's another one that's been a monster on the semiconductor side. You guys can see right here. The real level to be watching on Broadcom looks to be 168. 168 just cannot break on Broadcom. We can see right here, 168, 168, 4-hour chart. That looks like a very tough level on Broadcom at 168. So be careful of longing Broadcom into 168. Where I would look to long Broadcom is on pullbacks, as always, right? I'd look for that 163, and I'd look for that 158, right? Look for that 163 and that 158. Those are my two pullback longs to watch. Google, I'm sort of liking the Google comeback trade idea. I would continue to watch this. This was something we talked about last week, and it has been working. I like how Google has reclaimed this 156.70 spot. That is this major 4-hour low. And if I go into the short-term time frames, look at how Google has reclaimed that level and has held above it on Friday, right? You see right there? See how we reclaimed back above that? So I'm interested to see what Google does here over the next few days. Does it continue higher towards this 161 and this 20 SMA? Does it have more juice towards that 165? Is this a sort of comeback trade on Google setting up? That is something I'm definitely watching. If markets are strong, I can say one thing, which is a guess, right? So, you're going to have to play it at your own risk. if markets are strong post FOMC, Google will likely be the squeezer that presents, a really, really interesting comeback trade. But that is a total guess on FOMC, and that is why you have to play conservatively if you're going to trade with that kind of mindset. If if the markets respond positively to the rate cuts, respond positively to whatever Jerome has to say, if markets push higher, Google being down this much will probably be one of the best comeback trades to be watching for, right? So that is something I'm definitely hawking. I'm in it slightly, right? I have a little bit of risk on some short-term contracts, which are already up very nicely from Friday, but we will see if there's any continuation today. I'd be watching that 161 level on Google. Keep an eye on that spot today. This could be very interesting on Google. Microsoft. Looking to see if Microsoft can hold over this 430 zone. It's like 430. It could be like 434, but I'm gonna sort of watch the. Is it 432? It might be 432. Yeah, I'm gonna put that at 432. Okay. 432 on Microsoft is. Let me show you real quick. Some very clear highs, and I believe if you get over them, this could really start to push. So here's 432 right here, 432 on Microsoft. This is the 4-hour chart. Here's some very clear highs at 432 there. And then if we keep going over, look at that 432 right there, and then look at the 432 right now. Above 432 though, right, and this is why I'm very interested in this, above 432 on Microsoft, you really don't have anything, right, besides this sort of straight down move. And so if I believe that if you get over 432 here, you might see a very quick upside move on Microsoft if markets stay strong, right? So watch 432, right? Be very cautious there. Watch that level. If we hold above 432 in the near future and markets are strong, maybe this is a post-FOMC type watch, right? Keep an eye on this move up into this 446, because this is pretty much a straight down move that could be very quickly straight up. What I would also look for here is a continuous hold and defend of 425, right? You can see right here, 425, look at the defend at that level on Friday, right? That's also the 100 SMA and the 50 SMA. So you have the 425 and the 150 SMA stacked up right here. I would look for any and all pullbacks at this level to hold strong. If they do, that could be sort of interesting, guys. I'd be watching this one on a Microsoft comeback. I'd be keeping eyes on that. Let's continue. Apple week this morning. It looks like iPhone sales or expectations are coming in lower than expected, right? The iPhone pre-order sales are coming in lower than expected, as expected. I mean, you didn't change a damn thing, right? So Apple, as much as I love Apple, man, and I have to, they definitely have me sucked in, which, for better or for worse. But I will say, I was expecting the new phone to be a little bit different, man. It's the exact same thing. Unfortunately, I sort of have to buy the new phone. I mean, I don't have to buy the new one, but I need a new phone because mine's basically broken. So I was really hoping that the new one would be pretty cool because I was always expecting to buy a new phone. This thing's just absolutely shot. It's an iPhone 12. I've had it for I don't even know, 5 years, 6 years. I don't really change my iPhones very often, so I was really hoping that this phone was different, but man, it looks the exact same. So I don't know what to say about that. They did add a new button. I love that. But you can definitely see a little bit of downside this morning because of it. I would say watch that 215. I would watch that 215. But for me, as a content creator, it is such a big difference to be using Apple, to be able to send videos from my phone to my computer through AirPlay and, do all the things interactive with my phone and on the go and on my laptop and all that. It's Final Cut Pro, being a Mac-only product. It's just, the innovations seems to be through the software more than the hardware, right? And maybe that's where they're purposely going. I think it's possibly a smart thing for business. Software innovation is a much lower margin. So that could be the sort of the and I'm calling myself this, so don't get offended. The dumb brain person type of thing that they don't really care what people think, right? They could not care at all that people don't like the changes in terms of hardware. The software with the low margins that they probably have from changing software and innovating software is possibly the proper way to go in terms of margins on their top and bottom line, right? Or on their bottom line. I don't know. That's just a guess. You guys can flame me in the chat the same way you flamed me about Advanced Auto Parts, AAP boys. But that possibly is the mindset, right? Let's not spend too much on hardware changes, and let's focus on increasing margins through software changes. That's possibly the thought. You know, we shall see how it works out. But overall, it's still Apple, man. And the Apple haters, it's like hating on the company that's just absolutely in charge, right? It's still Apple. They still are probably the best stock on the market in terms of solidity, right? In terms of just being a solid company. You really just can't hate on it that much. So, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's one of those things. I don't know what to say. So, Palantir still looks great, man. I mean, guys, we talked about this over 30, didn't we? We've been screaming over 30 is good for how long? I mean, it's still good. It's still over 30, so it's still going up. So, yeah, it's been great, man. We talked about that 33 retest. That's been great. We talked about that 30 hold. That's been great. It's been great, and it still is great. Let's go to SMCI real quick. SMCI 460 is a big spot. This is the level I'd be watching, guys. This is a level I thought about trading over on Friday, but I did exit, which I'm very happy I did. I took a little scalp on it, SMCI over that 460. I was considering holding it, but then I started to see this occur, right? I started to see that 460 reject, and I was like, no, right? So very happy I made this decision. 460 started to reject, and this is absolutely the level that needs to break on SMCI. Look at this, 460, 460. I don't like that rejection there. That's a little concerning to me. For me, SMCI needs to get over 460. If not, I'm not touching it. All right. Amazon, we'll go over this one real quick. I would absolutely be looking for a pullback on Amazon to 182. I really like this pullback long to be looking for. I would watch this very closely. Amazon has been a very strong name, and I think pullback longs are a great watch. Right here, 182. Look for that pullback to the 100 SMA. I like that a lot. I'd be watching this. 182. Okay. ASTS. ASTS, it looks interesting on that daily, right? But I'm a little concerned about this just being another fake out. But I mean, it's a very interesting daily chart, I will say, right? I like that 25 hold. I'd probably like to see it hold over 28, right, in the short term. But, you know, ASTS is a small cap name, and you got to be careful on it. It's had a nice move on Friday. It's a very nice hold at that 25. I would like to see it maybe hold over 28. It needs to get over this 32. In terms of the 4-hour chart, though, I could see this sort of creating that, you know, sort of slow move that eventually starts curling back higher, right? I could see that. I definitely could see it. Except catching this is the difficult part, right? Because you get the big pops, the big downside, the big pops, the big downside, right? It's a small cap name, and I would say trade at your own risk. Okay. All right, so that's it, guys. We'll go re-look at the futures contracts real quick here before we head out. You guys can see right here, we're coming down into that 19,630. That is the key level. I'd be watching that today. That's that 50 SMA. ES, we're coming back down into that 5650, 5640. That's the big spot to watch today. Very clear levels on that QQQ as well. QQQ, 472, 468. Very nice. And then that SPY, I think it's that 558, right, and that 555. But again, we are sitting right at the supply highs, and it is very apparent, and it would not surprise me in the slightest to see the markets sort of reject early morning today, right? This is the exact supply high that is rejected for weeks back in August, and we are opening right up at it. I would expect to see something of weakness off this level today. We shall see what that looks like intraday. All right? All right, guys. If you could, press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are here every day at 8 a.m. Help me get to 100,000 subscribers. We're almost close to that 90K, man. We're getting close to 90. We're actually doing better than I expected, so I appreciate your guys' support. We need about 4,000 more people to subscribe for 90K. That's probably the more realistic goal by end of year. But, hey, I want that plaque, man. Why you have 100K subs and not me? Give me that plaque. Appreciate you guys being here as always, man. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for everything. I hope you're finding value from the streams. Hope it helps you today. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.